You're listening to Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marci Persky. In this installment, Marci and I have both spent a lot of time and a lot of money patronizing our respective veterinarians' practices. And have we learned anything in the process? Not much. Speaking of not learning, both of us seem to have sent our kids out in the world woefully unprepared in the arenas of death and sex. But they'll figure it out. Probably. You spent your day at your vet, and I spent my day at my vet. And whose vet had more unsettling news?
I haven't heard from mine yet.
Oh, okay.
So that could be unsettling.
Well, does it make you feel like, oh, they're waiting to see if the animal makes it home alive, anxious, or?
Well, I mean, every day that 20-year-old buddy lives is like a bonus day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be really sad, but he's 20 and he has so much going on, but he's still a boss. I mean, he still runs the house. So,
okay.
It's just, he's eating his third giant can of food right now.
I wish I could do that. I was at the vet today, and there's nothing like knowing, there's just nothing like getting a diagnosis where you know that you are going to spend a huge chunk of cash on your animal, and it's coming down the road, and nothing will stop it.
Yep.
So
I know that story. Believe me, we have done it over and over and over again.
So yeah, there's that
Did they
part.
give you a timeline?
No. So the German Shepherd has hip dysplasia. When you work with rescue and adoption, you don't exactly get, you should pardon the terrible joke, the pick of the litter. But the point of it all is you just sort of think to yourself, well, I love the right dog, and now I'm going to pay. So there it is. Yep.
It's your hairiest kid.
If you want to hear good stories, just say to anybody in the waiting room, oh, I hope your cat is okay. And then you're going to hear like the best stories or the worst stories. But
when I was sitting there, a whole family came in.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Yeah, carrying a bed that was covered.
Oh.
It was really sad. I was like, oh man,
no,
little kids.
Oh, that's not good. I don't think I would let my little kids witness the putting to sleep of the family pet.
I think it was already sleeping. I think that it was coming in for cremation.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Because it was pretty quick in and out.
I gotcha. No instructions.
But that's a good subject though. When do you explain to your kids about death?
My kids, I'd like them to see me cold as a stone and ask, what the heck happened to her? That's what I'd like.
Yeah, I'm going to leave a note that I went to the farm.
There you go. Yeah, I don't really want to explain. I was happy explaining about sex, even though it made me a little bit nervous. Then
I don't think I ever did that.
I did it wrong. Did I ever tell you this story?
How do you do it wrong?
Well, I get a phone call from the eldest third grade teacher, and she says we had our first unit on fertilization and biology and sexual health and reproduction today, and I said, well, that's nice, and she said yes, and your big cutie was very comfortable with all of the minutia of fertilization and eggs and sperms. And then after the lesson, he put up his hand and he asked me, but how does the sperm get in there to the egg? And I realized I had left that part right out. So, yeah, I blew that one.
I don't think I ever. I think my kids learned out in the street.
That's not easy since the places you've lived. I wouldn't even let my kids walk out in the street.
Yeah, well, so far so good. There's been no out-of-wedlock pregnancies, STDs, or anything else.
That you know of?
That I know of. They're all pretty open, I would know.
Yeah, speaking of open, somebody sent me, I know what it was. This is what the internet will do. You go looking for someone who writes an interesting food blog in Chicago, and you end up with some writer who does cartoons for the New Yorker talking about her life in a polyamorous relationship. I don't want to hear about anybody's polyamorous. I can't even say it. That's how much I hate
Yeah,
it. I don't. I
polyamorous.
don't want to hear about anybody's
Me either.
polyamorous relationship because
I
here's
don't.
what I want. I want to hear about your polyamorous relationship 25 years from now so I can go, and that's when they shot each other.
See, do not understand all of this phraseology, terminology, whatever. I Eve was trying to explain it to me the other day, and I said, "You're all just a bunch of weirdos. I don't
It's
get it."
cheating where people convince each other that by being ruthlessly honest, nobody's feelings will be hurt. That's what that is. That's cheating with a big, long, fancy BS explanation.
Well, I don't share. I don't share my husband with
I
anybody.
don't even share my dessert.
There you go. Yeah. So you were talking about stories in the vet's office, and I cut you
Yeah.
off.
Oh, no, that's okay because I got to talk about my take on polyamory, which I'll be happy to discuss with anybody. Again, I just want to go on the record here. Come see me if I'm alive in 25 years and let me know how well that worked out. Just, I want to
Hopefully, I'm
hear,
at the farm. So
leave a note. So I asked this woman, actually, I just said, because she came in with a cat, and then a little girl followed the cat into the waiting area. And the cat was upright in its carrier. So I had reason to believe that the cat was more or less all right. And I said, yeah, I hope your cat's okay. And she said, she said, he got into a fight with a rat and hurt his eye. And I thought, these Chicago rats, they're really big. But what I said to her was, I don't know any other cat in the whole city of Chicago who would get into it with one of our rats. Kudos to your cat for having some guts. And she said,
Right.
and I hope his eye's all right. And she said, well, actually, we had workers, and I think it snuck into the house when we had the house open for workers.
Ugh.
And I thought, oh boy, note to self. Never let anybody leave a door open for workers when your house abuts a Chicago alleyway. And oh, of course, we all wanted to know. I said, well, who won?
And
She said, I got a boss cat. He brought me that dead rat, showed it to me.
whenever I hear the word rat, all I can think about is you and I driving through Cabrini Green in that little red car, and all of a sudden, like a rat the size of a dog
It was like an
across the
armadillo.
street,
It was.
and we both screamed.
It was. I'm not a screamer. I'm a brake slammer on her. You're the screamer.
That was terrible. That was the biggest friggin' rat, that Ratzilla.
Well, I
And
also
I still remember 40 years later.
um
It was my worst rat experience.
so I did tell her about Poo Poo, which is the Finnish name for bunny. My friend Justina from Poland didn't know what poo poo meant in American English. By the time she figured it out, I guess was too late. Poo Poo, the killer cat who came to live at our house when we had a mouse infestation. They were doing chin ups inside my gas range. So I put a note on the neighborhood chat group, and somebody lent me, my friend Justina lent me her hunting cat. So I have a picture, the only picture on my fridge. I've got a shrine to Poo Poo the cat, who left us vermin free in 2 days.
They can smell it. There's a cat in the house, too.
Unfortunately, I can also usually smell if there's a cat in the house.
Unfortunately.
How did it work out, speaking of polyamory, with the dog swapping weekend? How did that go?
Actually, it went great. It went great. We have a new dog. Her name is Bella, but I call her Belly because she's a little fire plug. She's a full-bred English bulldog who had a multitude of health issues, and the shelter vet fixed everything.
Oh, that's what
And
you think. Just you wait, Henry Higgins. Just
I
you
know
wait.
I have all her medical records, but she's very sweet. The two senior dogs love her. It is so quiet in my house.
You posted a picture of this dog in
Yes.
front of 3 plush toys, and not one of them had so much as an ear missing. And I'd like to know,
No.
in retrospect, if you regret any of the last, what has it been,
No.
4 months of destruction that Butters hellion caused you?
I still love Butters.
Of course you do. And now you'll love him from afar, which will be so much less expensive.
We'll see what he eats, but I'm sure that Eve's boyfriend and his roommate don't have much of value outside of their musical instruments, which
Do you
hopefully are
realize?
put up on shelves.
Do you realize that if Eve breaks up with this guy or he breaks up with her, they're likely in a fit of fury to dump Butters right back on your front
Nah.
step? Yes, they will.
No, they won't.
All righty,
No,
I'm going
this
to
guy
put that.
would-
I'm writing this
We've
down.
had this,
Just
we
a
had
minute.
this talk.
I'm writing it down here.
We had a talk that if you guys ever break up, Eve, you can't demand the dog back. He's Josh's now, and Josh, no give backs. And they both said okay. And Josh actually sent a picture of Butters sleeping with him in his bed. And I
Ugh.
said, you might wake up with no bed.
Yeah, there goes your bed. Good luck with that. All right,
Yeah.
well,
And no, it's working out fine. She's really, really sweet. She's really funny. She grunts. She goes potty outside. And she can move really fast.
you sound
I found that out.
surprised.
Well, because she's so low to the ground. she's so round, and she's got little legs.
They're like little bullets.
She's a bullet. So she got to drive around today.
Okay, well, all's well that adopts well, so that's good.
Yes, and I have a car dog now because none of my animals have ever wanted to sit and look out the window and hang out and go with me to errands.
I always had good car dogs, and now I have a dog that just is miserable. This is the first time that I have ever not wanted to just kill myself in the car with the dog was today because she was all tranquilized out on the way home from the vet. And I thought, now I know. If we ever have to take you anywhere, just call the vet, get massive tranquilizers. Otherwise, I need
Benadryl.
tranquilizers.
So
Well,
it's snowing here again, by the way.
I don't feel
in
bad for you.
winter.
I don't. You want to know why? Because
Why?
the first digit of our temperature is going to be 1 for the foreseeable future in the warm on the warm days.
During the day?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, we're cold at night, but
Yeah.
during the day,
No, don't want to
we've
hear
been
it.
hanging up around 30,
Yeah,
31.
no, not happening
A
here.
balmy. Well, you could come out here and bring your bathing suit.
Woohoo!
Yeah. 31 is like, hey, that's lounge weather.
Yeah, y'all all get ski tans.
Not me.
No, it's true. You don't take your clothes off for
I don't ski.
I can't even imagine you, the athletic Marci on a pair of, it's weird. It's like when you mix 2 completely contradictory flavors to see how they work out.
Be on skis.
It would be you who loves sports and are pretty athletic, but fall down and bang into everything. What would you be like on a pair of skis? You'd be like one of those cartoons where the legs just twist around like a pretzel.
I used to cross country ski when I lived in northern Michigan.
That's cross country. You're on a mountain now, babe.
Yeah, no, I'm not skiing down the mountain until maybe I'm ready to go to the farm. That might be a good.
The farm.
Take out a whole bunch of insurance.
Go to the farm.
Mommy's skiing down the mountain to the farm, kids.
Yeah, you'll find me in the spring when it thaws. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.